What's going on, everyone? I'm just a typical, average American here today to react and learn all about British urban legends. I have never in my life heard a British urban legend. I don't know if these are disturbing, scary, common, or, the only, legends, urban legends in America. Like, the only thing that comes to mind is Bigfoot or something, which is, kind of silly. And maybe the Loch Ness Monster or something. Urban legends, man. And this video is called Top 10 Scary Urban Legends, nonetheless. So this should be quite entertaining. I guarantee you I've never heard any of these before.
Hello everyone, I hope you are ready for this. We're going to be looking at some creepy tales again, and this time it's from my homeland of Britain. It's a place with a lot of history dating back thousands of years, so it makes sense that there would be a lot of scary stories attached to certain places. Which one of these will send a shiver down your spine? Let's find out. My name is Danny Burke, and this is the top 10 scary British urban legends. Starting off at number 10 now, we have the corpse train. Now, according to London folklore, in the early 1900s there was a train that ran underneath the city, and it was only for dead people. Back then, London's hospital...
Yeah, I feel like... Why does it feel like... I've never heard of this British urban legend specifically, but the concept of a ghost train or riding around at night that only shows up some of the time and the passengers are all the undead, I feel like I have heard this before, just like... I don't know, even in the old kids' cartoons I used to watch.
Hospitals and morgues were struggling to deal with the vast amount of people that were dying from poverty and disease. They decided to transport the bodies out of the city, but knew that they couldn't do it overground without disturbing a lot of people. So they used an existing train line to load the bodies onto. The train ran just the other side of a wall from the normal daily service, where unsuspecting Londoners were getting on and off their...
What? Wait. Is this at a specific location? How could there be an entire other train no one knows about right next to an existing train? You know what, mate? That's why it's scary. That's why it's like an urban legend. Yeah, how did that happen?
Trains unaware of the nearby bodies. Next up at number 9 now, we have the suicide pool. This one comes from Epping Forest near Essex. The story goes that years ago, a young couple in love were followed to a pond in the forest by the girl's father. When the couple finally embraced, the father leapt from the trees to confront the boy. The fight got out of hand and the father ended up killing the boy in a rage at the edge of the pool. The waters then turned black. Wildlife that was touching the water died instantly. In the years that followed...
Wow. This is a dark one. This is like actually kind of scary. Disturbing for sure.
Bodies started to appear in the water. First it was an old woman, then a young one with her young child beside her. They say the pool drew them into their death and that the pool is still out there in the forest somewhere waiting for its next victim.
Okay, so these stories are very specific. Almost too specific, to be honest. This is not like Bigfoot, like what I was expecting. Like, that's more of a just fantasy legend. These have to do with very specific places where bad stuff happened.
At number 8 now, we have Annie. This one comes from Edinburgh, Scotland. In the old town there lies a street known as Mary King's Close. It's steeped in myths and legends of hauntings and murders. In 1990, a psychic called Aiko Gibo visited and felt a small hand touch hers. She said that she then made contact with the spirit of a dead child called Annie who had died in a plague hundreds of years ago and had lost her doll.
Why does it feel like every time there's a scary... little child. For one thing, if you want to be scary, simply make a scary, disturbing little ghost child demon, and that will make your story, your urban legend, scary 100% of the time. But why are they always named Annie as well? Why is that such a scary little kid's name?
Psychic then went to a nearby shop and brought back a Barbie doll for her. Now since then, visitors leave dolls for Annie, and a mountain of them has built up in the dark.
Oh, that is wow. That's actually scary. So this is something you could go see. Hold on, show me that.
Visitors leave dolls for
this pile of dolls and toys people actually leave because of this story for Annie. That's actually disturbing.
Annie, and a mountain of them has built up in the dark. Moving on to number 7 now, we have The Faceless Woman. This one comes from the borough of Barking in London. There you can find Beacon Tree Station, home to the Faceless Woman. The most famous sighting of her happened in 1992. A station supervisor reported that on one night he heard the handle of his office door rattle. Outside on the platform stood a woman. She had blonde hair, she wore a very pale dress, and just stared into the distance.
No. Yeah. It's always like a creepy little girl or a creepy woman, and of course she doesn't have a face. This was like, what did he say? This was like in 1990 or not that long ago. Is there a security footage of this or something? Maybe?
The supervisor approached her, but as he reached out, she turned to him only to reveal she had no face, just darkness where there should be one.
No. The most non-believable part of this whole story, that if you heard someone rattling on your door in the middle of the night at the station you were at, you open the door and you see a creepy ghost woman staring off into the distance, not responding to you. The most non-believable part of it is that you would then walk up to them and be like, "Hey, excuse me, creepy demon, excuse me, how's it going?" Like, what?
Only to reveal she had no face, just darkness where there should be one. Local ghost hunters claim that she is the victim of a train crash that happened there in 1958, which killed 10 people. At number 6.
Well, what happened to that guy? Wait, what happened to him? She turned and she had no face, and then what? What happened? Oh boy. He was never seen again.
At number 6 now, we have The Beast. England's Hackney Marshes is known for its sprawling woodland and boggy reed marshes often covered in swirling fog, the perfect setting for this urban legend. The story goes that in 1980, 2 bear carcasses were found in the river. They had been decapitated. People started speculating about who or what could cut a bear's head clean off its shoulders. Then, a year later, 4 boys were taking a walk along the marsh one winter morning when they saw it through the trees.
What? Okay, this story. This is more of what I would have expected from an urban legend. Although now I'm thinking of it like scary haunted places perfectly fit in with this kind of thing. The old haunted mansions and stuff. This, more like animal creature, like a creature sighting, biting and bear's entire heads off, and then just randomly spotted in the darkness by children. This is more in line with what I think of when I think of urban legend.
He described it as a giant, great, growling, hairy thing. As soon as it saw them...
There it is. There. Look at that thing. Wait, it looks like a big meatball. There's big fur ball. Wow. Okay.
Saw them, it reared up on its back legs and let out a deafening roar. The boys ran, but the story remains, always in the back of people's minds as they trudged through the marsh. We're returning now to the London Underground for our number 5 with The Crying Girl. On November 18th, 1987, a match was dropped on an escalator at London's King Cross station.
I was gonna say, the London Underground seems like the perfect opportunity for some good, creepy, scary hauntings and spooky stories. It is just perfect for that.
November 18th, 1987, a match was dropped on an escalator at London's King Cross station. A fire quickly spread into the nearby ticket office, which resulted in the death of 31 people. In the years since then, passengers have reported seeing a girl who died around the station.
This is based on a true story. At least that's what it actually seems like. So people actually burned to death and died. That's usually what these kinds of urban legends are based upon, true events. This is scary.
She has long brown hair, wears jeans and a t-shirt, and is always crying. Some people have even reported hearing her sobs while smelling smoke coming out from the escalators. Back to Scotland now for our number 4 with Sawney Bean. This is the gruesome tale of Alexander Sawney Bean, a man who was said to be the head of a Scottish clan of cannibals in medieval times. According to legend, the group was made up of his wife, their 14 children, and 32 grandchildren, some of whom were born through incest. They lived in a cave.
This is scary with the inbred cannibals, because this kind of thing could be true. This could happen. This isn't like, so far, this isn't supernatural. This is scary because it's possible.
cave by the water and would ambush people on the road at night. They would bring their bodies back to the cave to then dismember and eat them. Any leftovers were pickled in a jar for later. When King James VI of Scotland eventually heard of these murders, he led a manhunt to capture them. The clan was caught and then executed.
What the? What? That's not how I expected this to end. That's actually, like, kind of admirable. The king heard about this and he's like, hey, why don't we just get together, like, our army and go destroy this group of cannibals? That's so practical. Wow. Good job, king.
Some people say you can still find the cave along the Benane Head area of Scotland. Moving on to number 3 now, we have Cane Hill. Some say this is one of the most haunted places in England. It was a mental asylum for over 100 years, from 1882 to 1991. It built up a reputation for abandoning some of its patients, hiding them away from the public eye, and
Yeah, like an old 1800s insane asylum. This makes sense.
never truly helping them. Some people say the patients who died left their energy behind there because of their tortured lives. The building was gutted by a mysterious fire in 2010. Perhaps the scariest stories of all are of the faces appearing by the burnt out windows. Next up at
What? Well, we don't have a picture of that? Man, this thing, since it was kind of emptied out and burnt, it just looks even scarier. I know there's YouTube videos of, like, people who travel on purpose to scary places and, like, at night to, like, prove, like, they're willing to go and experience, like, the pure scariness. This would be, like, one of those places they would visit.
Number 2 now, we have the House of the Screaming Skull. This one comes from Bettiscombe Manor in Dorset, England. The legend goes that in 1830, a man lived there called John Frederick Pinney. He had a slave that he had brought back from the Caribbean island of Nevis. The man became ill, and on his deathbed, he swore he would never rest unless his body was returned home to Nevis. Pinney refused to pay for that expense, and when he died, he had the man buried in the local graveyard. After that, ill fortune began to plague the village for months.
Well, you know, listening to this one, if I'm gonna, like, be a little practical here, why, just because this random fellow on his deathbed was like, if I'm not buried in a very specific place, you will all be cursed. It's like, why do you get to have this power to curse people just because you want us to drag your body across the country to bury it? You know, maybe if they if they had a good relationship, maybe they would have done it. But I'm just saying, why is he so special that he just gets to curse the whole village because they don't want to lug his dead corpse around? I'm just saying.
Screams and cries were heard from the cemetery. At the manor house, windows rattled and doors kept slamming. The body was dug up and brought to the manor house, where today only the skull remains, where it's said to haunt the manor, but the village remains safe.
What? Wait, you can actually visit this place too? And his skull is there? That makes it creepy. That makes it a little too real. Kind of like this pop-up. Get out of here, you pop-up. Okay, back to the video.
And finally, number 1 now, we have the Hellhounds. Dartmoor is a vast, rocky, windy and mysterious part of England. It's popular among tourists, but everyone who goes there is aware of the legend of the Hellhounds. It's said that a pack of these ghost dogs wanders the moors at night, preying on sheep, and they're not afraid of humans.
What? What is this? Is this a hellhound? This looks like that other furball that was eating bears' heads off. This doesn't look like much of a hound, let alone a hellhound. I don't know about this.
They've often been described as cat-like, but with the frame of a bear, and very fast. There have been pictures and film taken of them over the years that claim to show glimpses of these hellhounds in action. Many of the locals don't even need that though. They've heard the stories handed down from generation to generation.
There we go. That's a little better, although these almost look like normal dogs.
Some of them even say they've seen the hounds with their own 2 eyes. Great stories. I want to talk about more of them, but next time I want them to be from other countries. We've done a few of them now, but there's plenty more countries out there. Where are you guys from?
Okay. Yeah, I'm sure there are many other scary stories out there. Okay. This was a good video. Not exactly what I expected, to be perfectly honest. These were scary. These were, like, way more real than I thought. Some of these were, like, based on true events and specific locations, and that's what actually makes urban legends kind of scary, when they're, like, kind of real like that. Not just hearsay, blurry photos. This was by Most Amazing Top 10. I like it. I liked that video. What are the comments here? I'm British and I've heard of none of these. Really? Are these like the most obscure urban legends ever? Same for me. Same. These are these are definitely obscure. These are obscure, scary British urban legends. I wonder if there's a video on like more well-known legends, but again, other than like Bigfoot, the Loch Ness Monster, and stuff like that, there's very, very few legends, especially in this day and age, where you can just like entertain yourself with your phone or the internet and Netflix and stuff. Back in the day, urban legends were much more commonly spread, I think, because you had nothing to do except talk to each other and tell each other scary stories. That was a good pastime. And for that reason, I enjoyed this video. I think this was a nice little video to bring back the old urban legends. Wait, a true horror story is when you run out of rich tea biscuits? Really? Okay. Yes, love these. You should do urban legends from Australia, Germany, here in Norway, lots of mythical beings and legends. Yeah. Well, I enjoyed these. I would believe it that these aren't that common. I struggle to come up with like American urban legends that I think people actually know about. But some of these were based on places around Britain and like actual events. So some of these seem pretty legit. And anyway, if not, these were very entertaining. So if you enjoyed this video, if you enjoyed this reaction, feel free to give it a like or leave a comment. And if you're interested in more videos like this, me reacting to Britain, British culture, just stuff in Britain that I've never seen before, feel free to subscribe for more. And until then, thanks for watching, and see you next time.